Hello, friends. Welcome to In My Car on this rainy, overcast, gray Wednesday, hump day, the second official day of summer. Certainly doesn't feel like it, considering we just went through a weekend where it was like 5 degrees and rainy, and the sun made a brief appearance on a Monday, went away on Tuesday, and hasn't made an appearance today. Trying to break through the clouds, but nevertheless, this is kind of where we are, waiting for summer and Mother Nature to finally kick us into gear. Lots has been said, lots has been mentioned in regards to the next captain of the Montreal Canadiens. Shea Weber is no longer a Montreal Canadian. Surprisingly, he's been dealt to the Vegas Golden Knights. If you missed that news, the Canadiens got Evgeny Dadonov back on the other side. I love the deal. Go back to some of my previous videos. My opinion at the time remains as it is today. I love the salary dump. I love the fact that the Montreal Canadiens traded 4 years for 1 year of Dadonov. This is a serviceable player. This is a guy who got into 78 games last year. I think he's going to make the Canadiens' power play better, certainly more dynamic, less predictable. And the fact that Shea Weber is no longer a Montreal Canadian is great news, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because it appears that Mike Hoffman is perhaps on the block. Jeff Petrie, who I don't think ever left the block, is starting to gain a little bit more momentum as we get closer to July 7th, which takes us to the latest batch of Habs rumors. Former Montreal Canadiens bench boss Jean Perron said he spoke to an agent, and that agent told him the Montreal Canadiens are taking Slafkovsky with the #1 pick, and then apparently the Canadiens are afraid to draft Shane Wright. That's the rumor. That's the gossip. Personally, I don't put any weight into it whatsoever. Let me ask you a question, okay? When was the last time Jean Perron, who coached the Montreal Canadiens coached the Canadiens to a Stanley Cup in 1986, when was the last time you heard Jean Perron's name? Here's another question for you. Have you ever come across Jean Perron and a scoop in the same sentence? I'll be honest. If this scoop turns into truth and that Jean Perron nailed it on June 21st, what the Canadiens are going to do with their #1 pick on July 7th, I'm going to be exceptionally disappointed in this front office, because I'm not the biggest Marc Bergevin guy, and I think the organization is in a better place because Bergevin is no longer the general manager and making decisions. The one thing that regime did very well, they were very tight-lipped. They didn't say nothing. No rumors, no anything of the sort got leaked under Marc Bergevin's watch. Certainly not like a flood of information. Anyway, I'm sure a couple of stories, I can't think of any off the top of my head that got out, but nothing at the level like this. That if this story got out and turned into reality, I'll be disappointed that there are holes in this ship, and the ship hasn't even left the port yet. Like last season with Martin St. Louis, it was a trial. It was an experiment. It was, let's see how we work together type run. And they lost a lot of hockey games. So it's not like, Martin St. Louis and Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon were the saviors. I like the moves they've made. I like the hirings that they've chosen to employ. But let me tell you something. I am not in the business of secrets getting out. I do not like secrets getting out. I want my business to be my business. You will know my business when I let you know my business. Capiche? That's kind of how I like to think. It's like how I choose to operate. So at the sake of repeating myself, I'll be very disappointed that in the early blush of a new front office and a new regime, that stories and holes have been exploited and gossip that turns into truth. I'm not a fan of that, and I hope that's not the case for this organization, because, I've been pretty consistent, guys. Like, I like this front office. I want to trust this front office. I think they've made some smart, shrewd accounting-type moves that have set this team up. So I don't want to say it's a red flag, but I'm paying attention. So that's where we are with that. Lots of conversation in regards to who the next captain is. My partner on the air in the morning, Simon Salikas, and I have been debating this for the last couple of weeks. I'm on the Nick Suzuki camp. Simon, who isn't here to speak for himself or argue for himself, is on the Joel Edmondson kind of stopgap opinion of who the next captain should be. And I've poked fun. I've had a couple of laughs at his expense. I accuse him of being a coddler. I accuse him of being an overprotective dad, like he's dealing with his young daughters and making sure they're protected in all areas, right? Like, this is how I think. And hit me up in the comments whether you jive with my logic or I'm wrong somewhere. Nick Suzuki is getting paid like a number one center, is the number one center of the Montreal Canadiens, and that, my friends, is not changing anytime soon. Everything I've seen from Nick Suzuki as a hockey player since he was acquired by the Montreal Canadiens reeks nothing of maturity, of high hockey IQ, of calmness, of patience. That's what I see from Nick Suzuki. Like, if I contrast Nick Suzuki with someone, let's say, like Brendan Gallagher. I've been watching Brendan Gallagher for as long as he's been a Canadian. Some of you have as well. Brendan Gallagher is an emotional, reactionary guy. It's why, in part, Brendan Gallagher has a poor relationship with on-ice officials. You know, I think he should have a better relationship. I think he has earned a lot more respect than what I think he's been given by these guys. But if I go back to my original argument, the contrast in the emotional, stylistic play of Brendan Gallagher, that's his own identity, his own unique way of playing, and that's what works from him. You ever see that from Nick Suzuki? And that's kind of what I'm looking for in my leader. That's kind of what I'm looking for in my captain. And those that say, no, Sean, not Nick Suzuki, give it to Joel Edmondson, right? It's a good stopgap. He's a respected guy. He's a quiet guy. He's a veteran guy. He's been through the ringer multiple times and has come out clean on the other side. Here's what I say to that. Nick Suzuki is a part of the core group of players that I believe the organization is going to begin to build around. And Cole Caulfield is certainly part of that conversation. I wonder, is Josh Anderson part of that conversation? But that's a debate we can have another time. So if you and I agree here that Nick Suzuki is part of the very long-term plans of the organization, that there's still a lot of room for him to grow and still has a high ceiling to hit, then why are we wasting time? Let's get to it. Let's show Nick Suzuki and let Nick Suzuki learn the trials and tribulations of being a captain of the Montreal Canadiens and the lumps that come with it. Like, for sure, Nick Suzuki is going to go a stretch of time next season without putting up points. Nick Suzuki is going to go a stretch of time next season without scoring goals. And that, my friends, is adversity. And I believe that it's very easy to lead when things are going great, when everybody's on the same page and you play for a juggernaut team and everybody's winning and there's no drama, right? I want Nick Suzuki to deal with drama. Nick Suzuki played on a bad team last season. I want Nick Suzuki to, obviously I don't want the Canadiens to be bad, but they're going to be bad again. I want Nick Suzuki to be the captain of a bad team. I want him to deal with media Q&A on a bad loss. I want to see how he reacts to that because I trust him. And that's what it comes down to me. He's earned that trust. And that's how I feel about Nick Suzuki. I'm not in the business of waiting to see and let's pick the right time, because what if when is the right time? What if Nick Suzuki doesn't get the experience or maybe doesn't evolve into the player we think he is? I mean, we're going to find out. And that's what I'm about. Like, the sink or swim philosophy, the sink or swim way of working sometimes is the right path. And in this instance, for me, let's go, man. Put it to the fire. Let's see what you got. Like, there is a strong element in my personal belief that when you get to the highest level, whether you're playing golf, whether you're playing NHL for the Montreal Canadiens, you got there for a certain set of reasons, right? Like, obviously you're mature, obviously you have unbelievable skill set, but I believe to be successful in the National Hockey League, you got to be good here. You got to be great here. And I see that in Nick Suzuki. And season after season after season, I think the league is getting younger and younger and younger. So I'm not about that stopgap life, baby. And I could be dead wrong. And history will tell us. But at the end of this, ultimately, I'm not afraid. And I don't think Nick Suzuki is afraid of a challenge either. These guys thrive under these circumstances. They want the challenge. They want to have their feet put to the fire. They want to succeed because they want to tell you, look, I did it. Maybe some of you thought I couldn't, but look, I did it anyway, right? So I think that's how these guys tend to operate. And that's how I choose to think in regards to who I believe the next captain of the Montreal Canadiens should be. Let's get to our best bets of the day. Thanks for following along. We've been pretty hot. My best bet comes in the world of Major League Baseball. 2 afternoon games today. The Toronto Blue Jays have lost 5 of 6. They've lost 2 of 3 to the Chicago White Sox. They play the third game this afternoon at 2:10. We're going to lean on the Blue Jays to salvage a win in the Windy City. And we're going to pair that with the Philadelphia Phillies at 4:05 this afternoon. Philly has actually been one of the hotter teams in baseball since they fired manager Joe Girardi. In fact, Philly, who are coming off a 7-0 loss to Texas last night, they have only lost 4 times this month. Now, Philadelphia, from my perspective, has been like kind of well-rounded. So their success comes from all areas of this team. They're top 10 in most offensive categories, and they're 4th in quality starts, which is why I love the Phillies this afternoon, because Zach Wheeler is having another fantastic season for Philadelphia. Great month of June. He's allowed 3 runs over 3 starts. Other than that, though, are the Phillies the team that we saw at the beginning of the season that was dreadful, or the team we're seeing now in June that has lost only 4 times? I think they're somewhere in the middle, really. So I definitely do believe they're a lot better than Texas, even though Texas wiped the floor with them yesterday, 7-0. Who cares? That was yesterday. We're talking about today. We got Zach Wheeler on the bump. So our 2 best bets in baseball come this afternoon. Blue Jays at 2:10, Philadelphia Phillies at 4:05 this afternoon. So that's my perspective from Major League Baseball today. Let's get into Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final and why I like the Colorado Avalanche to win. Nikita Kucherov is going to play. He's banged up. How healthy is Kucherov? I don't know the answer to that question. Braden Point's not going to play either. So when I look at the depth of the Tampa Bay Lightning that has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, you know, Pat Maroon, Nick Paul, are really going to bank on these guys? Let me ask you, what's more likely to happen? Nick Paul and Pat Maroon do the heavy lifting and the depth rises up, or Nate McKinnon finds a way to get out from the smothering defensive coverage that the Lightning have given him? I go with the latter as opposed to the former. So that is in part why I like Colorado to win this game. We're banking on the healthier team that I believe is primed, ready to go, because I think if we're going to see a game where Andrei Vasilevsky wins this one because of his heroics in goal, let's say Tampa wins 3-1, Tampa wins 2-1, Vasilevsky makes over 32.5 saves, which is another prop bet I like, then I think Colorado's in a world of hurt. I think they're going to be in a world of hurt if that scenario plays out, which I don't think is how it's going to happen. I'm kind of surprised we have a total of 6. I thought we'd get to at least 6.5 in this game. The Avalanche proved that they could score, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter against who. The Avalanche can score goals. They covered the total by themselves in Game 2. They contributed enough goals on the road in Game 3 to get over the total. Let's remember, this is a big-time scoring team. They have 4 skaters with over 20 points in the playoffs, so they have the depth to get it done. We're going to bet the over 6 in the hockey game. As far as maybe the stronger bet in this Game 4 tonight, we're going to be cheering for goals in the first period. Over 1.5 goals in the first period. Not only have each of the first 3 games of the series gone over the total, each of the first periods has done the exact same thing. So Colorado, known for its speed, we know that. They waste no time whatsoever. We saw how good they were, despite the fact they had almost a week and a half off between games. They scored 3 goals in the first period of Game 1. That game ended with 4 first-period goals. The Avs put together another 3 first-period goal performance in Game 2. The Lightning scored 2 of the 3 first-period goals on Monday, and we had a disallowed goal in that first period of Game 3 as well. So with both teams showing that they're scoring, both teams having high offense, regardless of where it comes from, I expect more of the same tonight. So over 1.5 goals in the first period, over 6 for the game. And I'm going to bet Colorado to go to Tampa and win Game 4 tonight. So those are my best bets from the world of Major League Baseball. Again, to recap, Phillies and Jays this afternoon. And in hockey, Avalanche to win. Game goes over 6. And let's go over 1.5 first period goals. Thanks to K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur, proud sponsors of In the Car with Star and have been since day one. Thank you very much. You support me by supporting my sponsors. They're on Highway 138 in Ganawage. They're family owned and operated, so you're not paying executives in the executive suites of these corporations. This is a locally owned, family-owned business, Highway 138 in Ganawage, right over the Mercier Bridge, premium fuel at discount prices, and I've told you since day one, go into K-Stop Gas Bar because they have someone gas there 24 hours a day, and they have a gas jockey so someone will fuel you up. Make sure you tip them. While they're doing that, you go into the Depanneur because they have the best snack selection going. Snacks that we don't get from like at your local dépanneur, they have them there. All those delicious American snacks that we love so much, they have them at K-Stop Gas Bar and Dépanneur. They also prepare daily meals, served fresh, hot, every single day, and their menu changes Monday through Friday. So go check them out, K-Stop Gas Bar and Dépanneur, Highway 138 in Ganawage. You support me by supporting my sponsors like Ash Gregoire, Chambon and Nissan online, ChambonandNissan.com, proud sponsors of In the Car with Star. Thank you as always, my friends. Let's find some winners today, okay? Hit me up in the comments, and don't forget to